So in this meditation, we're just going to begin by creating a space for you to connect with whatever you might be feeling right now. We're simply going to create a place where you can have this conversation, and we'll come back to it in subsequent meditations. So let's begin by taking some really deep breath. So breathe in, and then we're going to hold that, and then you're going to release slowly. Let's take a few more of those breaths. Breathe in. Hold. And then slowly release. All right, take a few more of those deep breaths. There's no magic here. We're just grounding into this present moment. As you breathe in, feel your breath moving along your nasal passages into your lungs. Imagine it there, filling up your lungs. And then breathe out. And just keep watch over that breath, that movement of air in and out. Again, no magic. We're just bringing our attention to one specific thing in our body. And by virtue of that, noticing our body around us, our sense perception, of the various parts of ourselves here present in this moment. Take a few more breaths. Okay. So now that we're here, without doing a full body scan, just be noticing where in your body you're feeling anything that just seems a little bit off. That which is not quite you. And we're not going to be concerned about that, we're just noticing it. In fact, if you move to your throat, or your head, or your heart, solar plexus, right there in the middle, gut, this is often where we notice these feelings of tightness, or sometimes pain, or just something that feels blocked or not right. That's all part of you. It's nothing to be concerned about. But as these feelings, these sort of manifestations present themselves to you, let them know that you see them, that you're feeling them, that you are here for the purpose of noticing them and feeling them. And just send a little love there. Oftentimes, these feelings are simply trying to tell us something. And we've created this time to bring attention to that and just say, yeah, okay, I'm here. So now that you have noticed these parts within yourself, you've acknowledged where they are, try to get a sense for the one part that feels like it has the most to say. Sort of the preeminent feeling or experience that has your whole attention. That might be in your head. Could be manifesting as a headache, or just a soreness. Could be a tightness in the throat, Anxiety often manifests in our gut. It's kind of a roiling cauldron, or just a gently simmering one, depending. After you've determined by feeling into your body where the most sensitive place within yourself is, check in very quickly with all the different parts of yourself that you've noticed. Let them know you're going to be back. And then you're going to bring your attention to that part that's the most sensitive right now. Take a few more deep breaths. And then I want you to imagine yourself in a room. And you're seated. And this room is really comfortable. It's beautiful. It's a room in a house. And we'll call it a home. We'll call it your new home. And you're seated at a table. And this can be a dining room table or a kitchen table. Think back into your life of a place that you've been where you feel really comfortable. You get to decide what it looks like, and you're not stuck with anything, so don't overanalyze what this room is like. It's just really beautiful, and to your standards, your aesthetic. Perfect temperature. And you're going to look before you, and what you're going to see are a lot of windows, lots of sunlight filtering into the room, illuminating everything here. A very solid, heavy door, also beautiful, but safe and secure. Nothing's getting in that you don't want to get in. And as you look around your beautiful home, you're going to see several doors into rooms, and all those doors are open, but it's slightly closed. And you can feel the presence of activity from behind those doors. And behind those doors is where we're going to encourage those parts of ourselves that we're feeling inside of us, that are meshed in us, maybe making us feel uncomfortable. We're going to invite those parts of us over the course of several meditations to take up residence in this very safe house in one of those rooms. And we're not going to force anything. But this is where we come to do our meditation. And the work is to invite that pain, tightness, discomfort, and behind that, an emotion, and attached to those emotion, thoughts, to separate from us and present themselves to us so that we can listen to what they have to say. So I want you to imagine this room and then move to that part of yourself that's feeling up like a priority for you right now. And just take a moment to breathe deeply, but breathe into that part of you. Send a message, not necessarily with words, that you can use words. but send a message with feeling to that part that you are here for it, to understand it, to feel it, and to let it know that it's not alone. And now that you have attention, take a moment to listen, but begin by asking a question. I am here. What's going on? The sense that you're trying to bring to this part of you that's uncomfortable is of a parent. And imagine a child, your child, who you love very much, has just come into the room and they're upset. And they can't quite get out the words yet. But you know they're distressed. And so you sit down with them and you listen. And you ask, what's going on? Take a moment to do that. Now, you might not hear anything at all, and that's okay. If there just isn't a message that is conveyed, just a feeling, just be with that feeling. And you can spend the rest of the time in this meditation just being with that feeling. But if there was an answer, keep inquiring. What's going on? Why are you uncomfortable? Why are you in pain? And the response might be very, very short. And that's okay. But when you have the gist of it and you can trust what you're feeling, offer an invitation to that part of you, wherever it is in your body, to have a seat at the table in front of you. There's several chairs. And again, this is a very comfortable space. And it's safe. There's a solid door there. Nothing's coming in. None of the other parts from the other rooms are coming in to argue or to fight. It's just you and this feeling that now has a voice. If there's reluctance on the part of that feeling to manifest in your mind's eye, within your imagination, sitting at that table, you can show it how safe the room is, and how secure it is, and that you're not going to get up and leave. You're here for this. And if it's still reluctant, that's okay. We can just allow it to stay there where it is. But before giving up entirely on this invite, send a message to that part along with your parental love that you can't really help this part. You can't hear its message and really understand what it's trying to tell you until it decides to move from the place within you to that really comfortable chair right in front of you so you can have a conversation. So again, let it know that it's safe. And let it know how comfortable that chair is. And send it that message. It doesn't have to come out and have a seat. And you're going to come back again and again until it feels comfortable, but that you really want to listen and you want to help. And feel into yourself, your internal intuition, your wisdom, your experience. And feel into the love that you have for this part of you and your curiosity, and let it sense all of that. And invite it to sit one more time. Now, oftentimes, when this form, if this form has decided to take a seat, it'll just be kind of a formless blob for many people, or an energy, marshmallowy. And then in time, it will start, or it might start to take shape. You might even get a sense of how young this part is. It's usually younger, might have some kind of a gender. It might take the form of an animal or a ghost or an entity. It doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're allowing it to take shape as it will, and you're still sensing into that feeling. And since it's already told you, maybe briefly, what the underlying issue is, and now that you're separate from it and no longer enmeshed in its pain or its confusion or its discomfort, you may feel a lightness in your body, an opening where that part was sitting, and you can move into that space. And as you do, you may feel a growing confidence that you know exactly what you need to do here. And again, as a reminder, think of yourself as a parent sitting with a beloved child who's in pain, or who's afraid, or who's angry, who's deep in an emotion and distress. And just send love to that part that you're now sensing and seeing. And see if you can't get it to speak. More deeply and more concretely about its concerns. And I'll just give you a few moments to do that. Keep breathing. Keep listening. Whatever you're hearing, what's important to note is that we're not trying to reassure this feeling. We're definitely not trying to desperately reassure it in hopes that it goes away. That's not what parents do. Parents understand that it's their presence and attention that helps their child feel safe enough to tell them what's going on. And good parents also know that sometimes the only thing that they need to do is just listen and respond with genuine, empathetic concern, but also with confidence. Okay, yeah, I sense that. I sense the truth in that. keep listening. And as you're listening, notice how you're feeling in your body now that this part of you has had a chance to speak its mind. Maybe it's concerned about something. It might be anger over a boundary that someone has overstepped. It could be a sense of dread. Sense that emotional resonance, that message, but from the vantage point of a parent with their child. Now, for this meditation, we're not really going to try and fix anything. We're not going to try and reassure. We're just listening. And just like any child who has had a chance to be heard and held and reassured just by the presence that you're bringing to the words and the feelings that it's saying, reassured that it's going to be okay in this beautiful house that's very secure. Keep listening until you feel that everything that needed to be said by this part has been said and released. And since this meditation isn't about finding solutions, but just listening, preparation for taking next steps in the secure serenity of this space, ask this part of you if it would be open to taking up residence in its new room. You can point to the room, you can show it the door opening slightly. And since you know this part, and you may even know what age it is, maybe it's you at a younger age, you can see that room manifesting into a place that feels safe and comforting and fun for that part of yourself. And you can say, if it's open to moving into that space in that room, you'd like to show it what's there. And if you get an affirmation, okay, take it by the hand and walk it over to that room, open the door, light streaming in from the outside, beautiful, beautiful setting beyond the window. And just ask it if it would like to stay here. And it may not want to, and that's okay. But if it does, let it come into the room and reassure it that the connection that you have to it still remains, even though it's in this room, this new home that you all occupy, every part within yourself. It's open. And you're going to be able to sense when it's not feeling okay. And you can invite it to come to you anytime it wants to come and sit at the table and have a conversation. And you can reassure it that even if it doesn't feel ready or safe to come to the table, that you can still feel it from where you're sitting at the table in the main room. And if you sense that it's not feeling right, you're going to come to the room and you're going to invite it to have a seat there with you. Or you can talk in the room. It has its own space. but it's still connected to you and it can say anything it wants. The only request that you're going to make is that it keeps its request reasonable. And it can speak its concerns, and you're going to listen, and you're going to take whatever those anxieties or warnings or messages are into consideration, but that it's not going to tell you what to do, not anymore. But it always has a seat at the table, and you're always going to listen to it whenever it needs to send you a message. Ask it if it understands, and then if it's okay with this. You always want to get permission. And generally, parts that are making us feel a way that's hurting us, when they sense that they're hurting us more than helping, they're generally okay with getting on board. Not always. Sometimes it takes time. In this case, if the part is willing to stay in the room, give it a big hug. Thank it for what it's trying to do for you, for its message. Close the door, but leave it cracked. And go back to the table. Have a seat. Take another few deep breaths. Hold. And then release. And with each deep breath, the room that you're in slowly starts to fade back to a comforting darkness of your closed eyes. You're still there. And when you feel ready, open your eyes.